than what you realize, and you have greater worth than what you understand. And if you can hear anything about my message today, my message is that you were created. God created you for a purpose, with a purpose to be successful. And I want you to understand that whatever number you've got on your life, that number is where you're going to, if you got a 6 on your life, can I tell you something? You're going to do 5 work. You're not going to do 7 work. You're not going to do 8 work. If you've got a 6 out there, listen to me very carefully. The most important thing you can do in your life to grow is to lift your own self-image lid. Now, how do you do that? Number 1, you lift your own self-image lid when every day you add value to somebody. When every day you add value to someone else, you begin to lift your self-image lid. Trust me on this, it's a fact. Every day I wake up and I ask myself a very simple question. I mean, I've done this for years. Every day I wake up and I ask myself this question: what can I do to add value to people? And who can I add value to? Every day I intentionally ask myself that question. And every day I purposely, intentionally add value to someone. When I was having breakfast at my hotel this morning, there was an individual that I had seen every morning, and so I went over and introduced myself and asked them for 5 minutes of their time. And I just sat down and I shared with them that I had watched them as they walked around the people, and they had a good presence about them, and I just wanted to know how much they'd add value to me every time I came down for breakfast. They just had a smile, and I just poured myself into this young lady for 5 minutes. She walked away. I could tell. Well, I was adding value. I mean, you'll increase your self-image when you give yourself away. You see, Robert Louis Stevenson said, "I determine success by how many seeds I sow daily." He said, it's the seeds I sow daily, not the harvest I reap. Most people, they're looking for the harvest. And I'm telling you today, forget the harvest. Just start sowing seeds. Just start adding value. I've done it for many, many years. I understand. There's a huge return. But if you just sow seeds, if you just add value every day, it'll do something that will unbelievably add value to you, and it will increase your self-image. Let me tell you something else will increase your self-image. Every day, do the right thing, even though it's the hard thing. I've observed and I've watched people that have a good self-image. They don't cave. They don't follow peer pressure. They make their own decisions, and they make the right decisions, even when it's the hard decisions. They don't back away from them. Wow. Your self-image will so greatly determine your growth. Law number 3. Before I give you law number 3, let me ask you a question. Are you learning something? Yeah. Then we'll continue. Look at your neighbor and say, "Are you learning something?" Ask your neighbor.
Are you learning something? Yes.
Look right back at him and say, "Not enough yet."
Not enough yet.
Dear God, you only had 2 laws. There are a whole 13 out there you don't even have a clue about. You can't write fast enough. You gotta buy the book. I go fast. I don't expect you to keep up. Not my first rodeo. Law number 3. Law number 3 is the law of awareness. The law of awareness says you must know yourself to grow yourself. Oh my gosh. If you're really going to grow you've got to know you. You've got to know yourself to grow yourself. You see, if you and I could have this personal conversation, one of the things I would ask you is, what are your strengths? You see, every one of you in the auditorium, you have 2, maybe 3, probably not, but could be 4 strengths. 4 is a little heavy, probably 2 or 3 is your number. Okay? 3 is my number. I thought it was 4. Margaret and I were having breakfast the other day talking about it, and she said, no, it's 3. I figured, you know, then I'll be 2, then I'll be 1, and then they just bury me, okay? But you have a strength. And one of the questions I would ask you if you and I were talking is I would ask you, let's talk about your strength. Now I'm talking now about giftedness. I'm talking now about ability. I'm talking about how you are wired. This is not something that you chose. This is you. This is in your DNA. You have a strength. I have it. And what I'm saying to you is, in this area, you've got to know yourself to grow yourself. One of the things I want you to understand is you have to know what your strengths are. Because whatever your strengths are, that's what you want to grow. In the area of abilities, listen carefully to me, in the area of your abilities, you have to work on your strengths, not your weaknesses. Most people, because of our culture, they work on their weaknesses. When you're in school, you got an A in math, you got a C in English, what did they tell you to work on? They told you to work on your what? English. Get that grade up, get that C, get that up to a B, work on that weakness. I'm saying if you got an A in math and a C on English, work on your math. Forget your English.
Woo! Woo!
You were probably lucky to get a C. Teacher probably liked you and bumped you up a grade. Now, why did you get an A in math and a C in English? Because you have a math mind, not a word mind, not a language mind. It's not dumb, it's not right or wrong, it's just who you are. Your strength is math, it's not English. And see, all of your life, you and I have been taught to work on our weaknesses. I'm here to say, don't work on your weaknesses. And you say, John, why shouldn't I work on my weaknesses? It's because you're weak. And your weaknesses. In other words, again, my name's John, I'm your friend. You're not any good at it. I'm here to set you free.
Woo!
You can only increase a gift or an ability 2 numbers. Not 10, folks. 2. So let's say I'm below average. I'm a 3 in something, okay? And I say, okay, I want to really work on this because I'm really below average, and so I work hard. And so let's say, for example, I love music. There's a problem. I can't sing. But I love music. So I say, well, I want to be a great singer. I would just love to be hey, I'm in Vegas. Hello? I'd like to sing. So what do? I'm not good at it. I'm a 3. So I get a teacher. I take music appreciation. I pour money and time and effort. And for the next 2 years, I take all this music stuff. And can I tell you, 2 years after that, maybe I went from a 3 to a 4. And can I tell you, I'm still below average. Now listen to me very carefully. This is very important. People don't pay for average. People don't pay for, and I'm absolutely amazed at how many people love average. I mean, I just look at them and I say, why are you so in love with average? Average is average, and everyone is average, and do you want to be everyone, and do you just want to be average all your life? It's just average, and average is never going to be success. Nobody gets excited about average. You don't get excited about average. You don't say, man, I just love that TV show. It's so average. Oh dear God, we're at Vegas. I heard there was a concert down there that was just really average. You don't stand in line for average. You don't pay for average. You don't look at your friend after you both worked hard and said, hey, let's go out to dinner. Hey, let's find an average restaurant. And you don't go to the average restaurant. When they start to seat, you say, oh, we just want an average table. We want. I know there's the ones over there by the windows, the water in the lake. No, we don't want that. We want an average, just an average table. And then when the waiter comes, we don't look and say, are you average? We would like to have an average. We don't want, if you're good, we don't want you. We'd like you. Do you take the order and then not tell it to the kitchen? And then we remind you 30 minutes later we haven't had our food, and you say, oops, and then you bring the wrong food back because we like that too. And by the way, when we're talking about the menu, what do you have that's average here? We don't want to know what your specialty is. I mean, do you have something nobody's ordered today? Now you don't go sit at an average table and have an average meal with an average waiter in an average restaurant and walk out of that place and you look at that friend and you say, I am pumped, but we must come back here. No. Listen to me, folks. People don't pay for average. And if you work on your weaknesses in the area of abilities, you'll only be average. But let's say you're a 7, maybe you're above average in something. And so now this is a strength of yours. And so you work on it and you can go from a 7 to an 8. You could even maybe get to be a 9. Can I tell you something? When you get in that top 20%, when you get 9 and 10, people stand in line for 9s. They pay for 9s all day. And you see, if you work on your strengths, in the area of your abilities and your giftedness, you'll really grow and you'll do really well and you'll be very successful. So when you get your growth plan together, when you say, okay, I'm going to start growing, you got to grow in the area of your strengths. You got to grow in the areas that you're good at. I'm good at communication, I'm good at leadership, and I'm good at creativity. Those are my 3 strengths. And I spend all my time growing in those areas. I don't spend time on other things and abilities and gifts I don't have. Why would I do that? I'm not going to be any good at it at all. I love to play golf. But I'm like a 12 handicap. I'm not a real good golfer. But I love to play. But I'm never going to be a scratch golfer. I want to play golf with a guy and he hits a bad shot and he kind of gets mad. I look at him and say, excuse me, you're getting a little upset here. Do you do this for a living? No. I said, thank God. You're not any good. Your problem is you're too close to the ball after you hit it.